to ask tonight is very simple. Now, how is it possible for us to be able to elect leaders blindly? Because most often than not, it looks to us that we elect leaders without actually thinking about it. So we are proposing test before you elect them. So we want you to participate in today's discussion by asking you this the question there. Most followers elect leaders before they have tested them. Is it a yes or a no for you? Okay, because we are holding that most of us actually elect leaders without even actually testing them. You know, just because somebody comes from us, right? Just because somebody, you know, is talks our language, or is our next door neighbor, or because maybe they gave us something, or maybe because everybody is saying that we should elect so and so, or maybe because our favorite leader is telling us to elect so and so, so we elect them. And the question we are asking today is, most followers elect leaders before they have tested them. Is it a yes or is it a no? And we are saying Nebuchadnezzar was actually smarter than all of us combined, because for him, he first tested the people. He first tested the people before he actually allowed them to serve in his palace. And he used a 3C's criteria. He used a 3C criteria that is advocated by Bill Hybels in his book Axiom Powerful Leadership Proverbs. And before we elect leaders, whether it is in church, whether it is in business, whether it is in politics, we need to ask ourselves 3 critical questions. And critical question number 1 that we need to ask is this: do they have character? In other words, can we trust them? Are they people who are honest? Do they get along with others? Do they give credit to others? Do they practice fairness? Do they speak in a courteous manner? You know, are they people who keep their word? Do they respect others? You know, somebody said that character is not something that you buy in shop, but rather it is not a commodity that is bartered for. It is not a quality that is suited for only the rich and the famous, but rather we are saying character is built upon the foundation of commitment, of love, of honesty, of compassion on others. Character is something that we need to go for, and we need to have tested our people before we elect them and have known, do they have character? They need to pass the character test, and we need to ask ourselves before we allow them to be our MCA, before we allow them to become our governor, before we allow them to become our pastor, before we allow them to become our representative, whatever it is, whether it is in the Catholic, we need to ask the question, do they have character? And the next question that we need to ask ourselves is, are they competent? Jeff Mary, we encourage you to answer the question, most followers elect leaders before they have tested them. Is it a yes or is it a no for you? So we need also to ask the second question, are they competent? In other words, are they able to do the job well? You know, somebody can be trained, somebody can have the qualifications, somebody can have the papers, but yet lack the competence, the ability to deliver, the ability to post results, the ability to do the task well. We've seen not once, not twice, people passing through college, whether it is university, whether it is an accounting college, whether it is a police college, or whether it is managerial, or teaching college, but when they come out there in the market, they are not able to deliver. They look to us like half-baked people, and so one of the ways that we know somebody is competent is somebody who listens, and actually somebody who asks for advice, because after all, you know that which you learned in class need to be custom made, you know. And so and again, somebody who is competent is somebody who asks, in the view of the circumstances ahead of us, how can I do it better. In other words, these are people who use constantly the word that is called kaizen, which means self-improvement. Is somebody who always keep improving, who's somebody who keeps on doing things better. And then finally, before we elect people, before we vote them in, before we give them leadership mantle, before we trust them for leadership, then we need to ask the third and the most important question, and that is, do they have the chemistry? In other words, do they fit well? Do they mesh? Do they agree? Are they getting well with the people? And this is something that is actually very hard to detect. But fit is something that can be felt, because these people just come and they mesh. Have you ever been in a group of people, or in an organization, or in a church, or in a party, and you just don't feel like you feel out of place? You just feel like you are foreign virus. You simply, there's something that is in you that is out of sync, and you don't feel at home with the way they dress. You don't feel at home with their dress code. You just feel bad. And there's no teamwork. You don't feel like working with people. And what we are saying is this, that Nebuchadnezzar actually tested people before he allowed them to work in his organization. And as Kenyans, we are challenging us and encouraging all of us to test them before we trust them, to test them before we allow them to lead. This is John Kimani. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That is Inawezekana TV, the voice of hope. And until next week, such a time as this, my name is John Kimani.